Winter clung to Blackthorn Hall like a second skin, the stone walls slick with mist and grief. Duke Alaric of Westmere had not smiled since the night death stole his beloved wife 3 winters ago. Servants moved like ghosts through the manor's endless corridors, careful to avoid the duke's study where the fire never warmed him. Alaric sat alone beneath a portrait of his late duchess, candlelight trembling across her painted eyes. Letters of state lay unopened on his desk. Outside, the snow-muted world pressed against the windows. He welcomed the cold. It matched the hollow chamber of his heart. When word came that the village orphanage had collapsed under the heavy snow, he agreed, without thought, to house the displaced children and their caretakers. It was duty, nothing more. Among them arrived a young woman in a plain wool cloak, her boots muddied from the mountain road. Eleanor Whitcomb, a maiden of humble birth, brought with her a quiet dignity that unsettled him. She carried a child on her hip, her voice steady as she thanked the duke for shelter. Alaric caught the flicker of defiance in her eyes when he asked her to remove her wet shoes before entering the great hall. Most curtsied and fled his presence. She met his gaze. "I will, your grace. But the child must be warmed first." Something unspoken stirred, a note of life in a house long dead to it. Days passed. Eleanor worked beside the servants, mending garments and tending the children with hands roughened by village toil. Alaric found himself watching from doorways he once avoided, drawn by the quiet rhythm of her movements and the calm strength in her voice. One evening, a storm howled through the valley, snapping ancient oaks. The manor's roof groaned, a window shattered in the nursery. Eleanor braved the icy gusts to bar the frame, her hair whipped loose. Alaric entered as the last shard of glass fell, catching the sleeve of her cloak before she cut herself. "You should not risk," he began. "Someone must," she said, eyes flashing. "Your Grace, these children need warmth, not caution." He almost smiled. Almost. Later, in the flicker of the great hearth, they spoke. She told of her parents lost to fever, of years spent as a seamstress for pennies. He confessed nothing of his own grief, yet she seemed to sense it, her gaze steady and unafraid. "You keep the world at arm's length," she said softly. "But even stone cracks in winter." The words pierced like a blade and a bomb all at once, leaving him silent. Rumors began among the servants. The duke lingered where the maiden worked. Their laughter, his rusty and unsure, echoed through halls once tomb-quiet, carrying a warmth no fire had managed to bring back. The village council visited, bringing news that the orphanage would be rebuilt come spring. With it came Lord Hawthorne, Alaric's oldest friend, and his late wife's cousin. Hawthorne's gaze lingered too long on Eleanor, and his lips curled in quiet judgment. "Your Grace," Hawthorne said privately, "a duke cannot be seen in undue familiarity with a common girl. You risk scandal. You risk the crown's censure." Alaric's jaw tightened. "I offer charity, nothing more." Yet when he sought Eleanor that evening, he found her packing. "They say I have overstepped," she whispered. "I will not bring shame to your house." "You will do no such thing," Alaric said, stepping closer than propriety allowed. The scent of hearth smoke and winter clung to her. "This house has known only silence. You brought it breath again." Her eyes shimmered with tears she would not shed. "I am no duchess. The world would call us sin." "And I," he murmured, "have lived 3 years in a colder sin, life without love." Their hands found each other in the hush, a forbidden spark neither dared name. Spring crept across the valley, melting the snows that had locked Blackthorn Hall in sorrow. Wildflowers pushed through soil once frozen, and the manor's windows opened to birdsong. Still, whispers from court reached them, of impropriety, of a duke's folly. Invitations to council were edged with warning. Alaric chose his moment with the same calm he once reserved for battle. Before the gathered villagers and the children she had saved, he took Eleanor's hand. "Let the world speak," he declared, voice ringing against the ancient stones. "I have buried one love and will bury no more. This woman is the life returned to this house, and to me." Gasps rippled through the hall. Eleanor trembled but did not withdraw. "Your Grace," she said, "are you certain?" "The crown. The crown can break before I break from you." In that instant, the cold of years melted. The Duke of Westmere lowered his proud head, not to duty or king, but to love forbidden by class and whispered against by tradition. When Eleanor finally spoke, her voice was a vow, "Then let the thaw begin." And so Blackthorn Hall, once a mausoleum of grief, rang with music and children's laughter, and the love that no winter, nor crown, could silence.